Hello ladies and gents, this is Evolution of Russian Army Uniforms, animated history by the channel The Armchair Historian. So, we did the German uniform video and Armchair Historian uploaded the Russian one, so we are doing this. Russian Army uniform, I think in the Napoleonic Wars they had these bright colors like everybody did, bright green color. And by the time of World War I, they had this dull olive green color like most other countries had too, because during the World War I every country is like start to go down key, more earth-like colors like olive green or something that could blend in, because obviously that would make sense because now snipers were introduced, so you can't just be flamboyant now, people can just shoot you from the distance. So that started. I think in Soviet Russia it was more beige, khaki type colors, and still there was olive greens. That's the standard. And I think some officers had blue uniforms too. I'm not so sure about that. Same thing in World War II, olive khaki colors, and that's the trend throughout. I think that. I think some officers use some kind of gold and stars and symbols and ornaments like that on their uniforms. I mean, at least before World War I they used to. I don't know after that they did or not, because again, like I said, snipers could easily pick you off, so I'm not sure the ornaments and things were standard on the field. So yeah, that is I'm pretty sure in Soviet Russia they had these beige type colors. I'm not so sure about it was just a uniform to show like in parades, or was in on-field uniforms. I don't know that, but I'm pretty sure I've seen that one. So yeah, let's see what Armchair Historian shows. Yeah, by the way, guns. That the Mosin Nagant, that was awesome. That was one of the iconic guns of all time. And also, I think late in World War II, if I'm not mistaken, it was SVT-40 was introduced, and that was just epic because every country had these rifles that was just simple with wooded finish and beautiful, barrels and things like that. It was just simplistic and beautiful. While SVT-40 was just this thicker wood stock, and then the barrel had holes in the sides. When you see it, you know inside of you, like, damn, that is something that's dangerous, because it looks so different than the other ones, and it became really iconic. Not many people used SVT-40. Most people had the Mosin Nagants, whoever had the rifles, but some of them had SVT-40, and that's just become iconic, like special weapon. So let's watch it.
First, a word from our sponsor, Raid Shadow Legends. Clicking the link down below is one of the best ways to support this channel. Raid is an epic fantasy game you can play on your desktop or take with you anywhere on your phone. And now is the best time in the history of the game to jump unique locations in a fully use your boss 100,000 clans, and more is spend attention to how you can artifacts directly. And if you're quick Raid first, it will all be waiting for you here in your, but only if you click on my special link in the next.
Alright people, see in my description there's a original video link of the Armchair Historian page. Go to that video and click on the link there and download this game and support the Armchair Historian channel, because they really need your support. Most videos the Armchair Historian puts out has, YouTube thinks is controversial, and lots of time they get demonetized. Most of times, like Iraq war, Afghanistan war, those videos are demonetized. So they really need your support. So go to the sponsor pages and support the Armchair Historian. They really need you.
30 days. Like most other armies in Europe, Russian soldiers had very bright and ornate uniforms to distinguish them in the chaos of battle. Russian muskets were often copies of European designs, with minor changes such as heavier stocks or copper ramrods to prevent rust. Officers of the time wore similarly ornate outfits, often...
It is ridiculous to think, isn't it? Because Russian weapons might not be known for as the most dangerous one in the world, but they definitely are known for one of the most reliable in the world, AK-47 and things like that. So has been since the 18th century, that they always relied towards the reliability of a weapon, because obviously that would make sense. Lots of people lots of countries around the world was more focused on damage and mechanics of it, but didn't really thought through that is it going to be reliable. While Russians are like, make it simple but make it reliable, and that made a lot of difference on the field.
Accentuated by elaborate gold braiding. A sword and scabbard at their side usually served as a symbol of their rank and standing. By the time of the Napoleonic Wars, the military had been influenced by the style of uniforms worn by the French and Prussians.
There you go. Bright
Designs
green,
remained
and
gaudy, but standards were relaxed during the reign of Tsar Alexander, who once stated, "A soldier has no time for smartness in a campaign." Regardless of the Tsar's opinions, officers still liked to stand out in a crowd. Thus, their uniforms stayed ostentatious, as did their shakos. Army musicians were similarly well adorned, sometimes being even more decorated than the officers. This did serve a function, however, as part of their job was to keep morale and spirits high on the field. By the Crimean War, the Russian military had begun using percussion cap muskets, and some units even wore a spiked helmet. In fact, there is evidence that the iconic Pickelhaube was originally designed by Nicholas I, with the prototype being copied by the Prussians before the original made it into production. During the brief Russo-Japanese War, the Russian soldiers were among the very first in the world to have bolt-action rifles as the standard-issue infantry firearm. As warfare began to modernize, however, so too did the equipment and appearance of the basic infantryman.
See, there you go. Olive green. Everybody in World War I had this olive green and bland looking colors, so they could just blend inside the environment, because everybody had rifle now. They could strike you for thousands of yards away.
Decorations became a liability, and uniform colors shifted to a drab mixture of earth tones. Of course, the officer corps were determined to hold on to their symbols of rank for as long as possible, usually until an enemy sniper reminded them it was no longer the 1800s.
That is, I'm the officer. I don't use rifle, I have a pistol and just a big coat and ornaments on me. One sniper takes them out, and all officers just take out their, the big coats, and they're like, you know what? I'm just like you. I'm just like you. I'm just officer by name. I'm just like you. And everybody has then beige colors.
The Russian Revolution created an immediate need for new decorations, as soldiers from the White and Red armies naturally wore near identical uniforms. White army soldiers usually wore distinctive sleeve insignias in the colors of the former empire. Meanwhile, soldiers from the Red Army displayed their affiliation with a prominent Soviet star.
Because of the Red Army. This is still so questionable option, isn't it? You have this beige type coat, but I have that red stripes and red star. I mean, I get it, you're Red Army, but isn't that anybody can spot you from the distance?
During border conflicts with the Japanese in the 1930s, NKVD guards were easily identifiable by their bright collar tabs and belt buckles. By the start of the Second World War, further steps towards military modernization had taken place, with a new steel helmet and an upgraded Mosin Nagant being issued to the infantry.
There you go.
Officers were similarly equipped to their Great War counterparts and used the same revolver, but all other influences from the previous government had been removed. Officers now wore the M36 visor caps, which was emblazoned with the Soviet star. While the Red Army performed poorly in the field until late 1942, they were much better equipped to deal with the cold than their German counterparts. Soviet marksmen and markswomen were deadly with either a scoped variant of the Mosin Nagant and the semi-automatic SVT-40.
There you go, SVT-40. See that? Mosin Nagant, look at that. Simplicity, just beautiful. SVT-40, thicker stock, and the barrel, look at that with the holes and things, and it just looks something like that could really kill you.
Men like Vasily Zaitsev and Ludmila Pavlichenko became legendary snipers with these weapons. While infantrymen made the bulk, for Soviet ground forces, specialized assault sappers or engineer brigades were created, spearheading assaults with submachine guns, destroying fortifications or building bridges to advance a Soviet victory. Following the end of the Second World War, the Soviet military saw itself becoming a fully modernized force, both in look and their equipment. Soviet infantrymen were now equipped with the iconic AK-47 and later the AKM assault rifle, developed by Mikhail Kalashnikov.
AK-47 is just, people have this just word in that, like AK-47. But seriously, AK-47 is a very powerful assault rifle. AK-74 makes sense, 5.56 ammo. There are other AKs too which has small caliber ammo. AK-47 has the big ammo, so 7.63 or something ammo, Russian ammo. That's a big caliber. People realize AK-47 that's just general assault rifle, but no, AK-47 overpowered even for today's standard. It's pure out battle rifle. If you are in a pure out war, just blown out of proportion, and you really need some high power assault rifle, that's what AK-47 is. And it has lots of minus points too. It has lots of kickback, it's heavy, so people usually don't go for that. That's why AK-74 was invented in the first place.
This rifle would see continued use throughout the decades and remains to be a reliable weapon platform to this day. Deploying to Afghanistan,
dangerous.
the Soviet military adapted to the desert climate with tan-colored uniforms, often referred to as Afghankas, during the decade-long conflict. With the fall of the Soviet Union in 1991, the new Russian Federation issued their infantrymen new camouflage uniforms, making their debut deployment in the conflicts in Chechnya, although many still retained their Soviet-style belt buckles, whereas years later, Russian military forces would be free from the influence of the hammer and sickle on their gear. Equipped with AK-12s, a modernization of the reliable AK.
There you go. AK-12 is basically like AK-74M with the same caliber, 5.56 or something like that. So it's a smaller weapon with a smaller caliber, but can shoot a bit faster and less kickback. It's just more practical in a way. AK-47 is just way overpowered in a war, even in a war. If you're just all out assault like in world wars, maybe I can understand that. Otherwise, it's just way overpowered.
AK-47 from the Cold War, the soldiers of the Russian Federation are as prepared as their Western neighbors. In contrast to the standard infantryman's uniform, the honor guards have a very ceremonial look, absolutely needed when guarding high-profile locations, such as Russia's Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. They are equipped with the SKS rifle. Thanks again to Raid Shadow Legends for.
So I knew I saw the blue uniform somewhere, but yeah, it's not on the battlefield. It's mostly olive and beige type colors with the big coats and ornaments. Yeah, most World War I, World War II, it was basically the blending in element was the biggest thing, because people had rifles and they can just shoot you from the distance, like M1 Garand and things like that. That could just shoot you from the distance. So you have to just blend in. So yeah, that makes sense, man. There was no people who use SVD Dragunov throughout the time. Wasn't used in the warfare or something, or was it some specialized weapon for special units or something? I don't know. I thought that would make the list, but didn't. It's successor to SVD-40. It's a really good sniper rifle. Alright, if you like my reaction, please don't forget to like and subscribe, and go to the Armchair Historian and download, buy whatever Raid Shadow Legends and support that channel. They really need your support, man. Lots of their videos don't get monetized.